it's so nice that this works. Oh, all right. Here we are. Great. Well, welcome everyone. Thank you so much for joining. I'm so excited to be back here. Would you put where you are in the chat, where you live, as well as your sun, moon, and rising, so we could see where people are from around, some are from around the world. Laura's from Venezuela. Yes. Indiana. Beautiful. Great. Great. Well, for people who are here on Sunday, wow, that was such an amazing event. When we talked about the new moon in Aries, there's still time to set intentions. You want to do it before the first quarter moon next Monday. So yes, there's still time to watch it on YouTube or set intentions if you like. Great. So the intention is I'm doing these webinars so people can see my style and decide if they want to join my Moon Mastery program. And I just want to give a shout out to people who have already signed up: Patricia, Cynthia, Claire, Lori, Karen, and Kim. So I am so excited that we will be working together and learning together, and to be your guide as you learn about the moon. Yeah, so this event is meant to be interactive. So yeah, please share any questions in the chat. And my sister Victoria is going to help co-facilitate. So yes, she will, I'll stop at certain points and ask if there are questions. You can either come off mute or, put it in the chat, and Vicky will let me know. And yes, so here we go. I am going to start presenting. Well, wonderful. So welcome to the North Node presentation. It's about the North Node, which I call an unexpected grace. It's the path to spiritual illumination. So this is me. I am Celeste Brooks. I am an astrologer, coach, and intuitive, and the founder of the Moon Mastery Program, a tool for self-discovery and manifesting with more ease. My big three are: I am a Taurus sun, which makes me very practical and grounded. I say I bring the stars down to earth. I'm an Aries moon, which is a fire sign. So I like to initiate actions and encourage people to do so as well. And yeah, my word of the year is fearless. So I'm really trying to lean into that moon more and take more calculated risks to move myself forward. And I'm a Cancer rising, so I like to have a very collaborative approach and consultative, and hold space for people in a nurturing way. So a little bit about me personally. I am an avid reader. I have had my nose in a book since I was 5 years old. I'm a Yelp elite. My Taurus sun. I am a foodie. I do love the five senses. And yeah, I like to treat myself. I'm not someone you'll see camping in a sleeping bag on a mountain. I'm more, going to the spa type of girl. I have a stellium in the 11th house of groups. So I really enjoy building community, as well as gives me, I'm a coach as well as an astrologer, and I'm a flat-faced dog lover. My background is I have a science background from UC Berkeley, and I've spent over 20 years in Fortune 500 companies in sales, marketing, and business development roles, both individual and leadership roles. And I've completed advanced astrology programs with Deborah Silverman and Rebecca Gordon. And I've taught for Deborah Silverman, and I'm interning now to teach her level 2 as well for Deborah Silverman. Wonderful. So these are the flat-faced dogs who live with me. This is Sweet Pea on the left. He is 13. He sleeps most of the time. And Debo on the right, who spends his day waiting for the cupboard to open so he can ask for a snack. And these two hustle me all the time. Yes. So this quote really speaks to me about the North Node. So two roads diverged in a wood, and I took the one less traveled by, and that has made all the difference. The famous Robert Frost quote, and I believe the North Node traveling by it can as well make all the difference in your life. Yeah, so the agenda tonight is going to be, I'm going to give an introduction to the lunar nodes, talk about what they mean by sign, and then I'm going to try to keep the talk short so that I can spend more time with people's charts. But then we'll talk about, I'll introduce you to Moon Mastery 101, which is taking flight May 2nd. I hope some of you will join me. Yes. And then I'll people who want to have their charts discussed, I'll do as many as I can. On Sunday, we were on here for 2.5 hours. I don't think I could stay that long tonight, but it was so wonderful. Yeah, so the living sky. So this is the sky at the time that we started tonight. And I always like to look back at events or look forward at events on what's happening. I liked that when I planned this, I liked that it was a Virgo rising, based on how it interacts with my chart. But I didn't even realize when I planned it. I mean, I knew the moon was in Gemini, which I loved. Gemini is a sign of socializing, and it's a great time to teach when the moon is in Gemini. But I didn't even notice that the North Node and the moon are in the same sign. So I think that's beautiful that we're talking about the North Node when the moon is here to help emotionally connect us in with our North Node stories. And we're talking about her. So I think that's absolutely wonderful. I also think the fact that it's a Gemini midheaven. Vicki, can you see me circling the midheaven?
Yes, we can see your person.
Okay. Yeah. So I'm sorry, I should have done this. I'm just talking. So yeah, the ascendant is a Virgo rising. Mercury, the planet of communication, our thought processes, is ruling this chart right now. And the moon is in Gemini, ruled by Mercury as well. So yeah, it's just great. And the North Node, the next eclipses coming up are going to be in May and June. And I love that Gemini is on the midheaven as well. Wonderful. So the lunar nodes. So what are they? The word node means knot. So the knot is that they tie the moon to the sun and to the earth. So they tie our will, our essence, the sun, to the moon, our emotional body, our how we need to be nurtured, our soul story, and they tie it to the earth. So the nodes are 2 points where the moon's orbit around the earth. So we're always with astrology talking about from an earth-centered perspective, at least with the Western astrology I practice, and most astrologers do, although there are some heliocentric astrologers who practice based on the sun. I don't know anything about that. But the ancients had no idea that we were revolving around the sun. They thought that the sun was revolving around us. So the moon's path around The Earth and the sun's path around the Earth cross in two spots. So the descending node and the ascending node. So there are 2 points, and they're always 180 degrees away from each other. Yeah. So they travel backwards. So when you look at a chart, the nodes are almost always traveling backwards. At points, they like stop in what's called wobble. So some charts you'll see an S near the node, and that means it was stationary when the person was born at the time of the event. So that's even more important. If you have a stationary north node, that story is even more important in your life. Yeah, and they change signs every 19 months. So the north node is at a certain point in your chart when you're born. The north node and the south node are opposite each other. And every 18 and a half years, you have a nodal return where the north node returns to the point where it was when you were born. So this happens around 18 and a half, 37, 56, 74 and a half, and 93. And whatever 93 plus 18.6 is, if you live that long. And I think some people do. Yeah. And so the reverse nodal return is when the transiting north node comes to your south node. And so this is a time that has to happen, starts at age 9 and then happens every 18 and a half years approximately from then. Yeah. So what are these? What is the meaning of this axis? That's just about, the physicality of it. But I see the nodes as the axis of personal growth. And I'll start with the south node because the south node is what's comfortable for us. It's our routines, it's our habits. It's called the dragon's tail, as the north node is called the dragon's head. It speaks to karma, our habits, our past life. For evolutionary astrologers and many others see it as the past life story. It's also called a point of self-undoing. And why is that? It's because it is the ease, it's the habitual patterns. The north node opposite it is a stretch. It's an uncomfortable stretch for most people. It depends on your chart. And when we see some charts, it will be really interesting to hear people's perspectives. But in general, it's an uncomfortable stretch for people. I found when I understood my north node, I have a south node in Virgo, which speaks about, it's very habitual for me to be a perfectionist or constantly I'm a recovering overachiever and, really focused on the details to the point of sometimes in my life caused me anxiety and things like that. So when I found out my north node was in Pisces and I was supposed to trust and release and not beat myself up for mistakes and make sure I had a meditation practice and things like that. It changed my entire life as I started working to really embrace that north node and leaned into that story. So it's where we're trying to stretch to for spiritual growth, and it's where we can gain success. And I call it unexpected grace, because when you start to lean into it, things will happen and things will come into your life that you didn't necessarily do anything. They're just blessings and grace that has been come to you for the work that you're doing and stretching in on this Dharma, the karmic path of Dharma, the north node, karma, the south node. So so living the right path brings blessings. They're also called, in Vedic astrology, the North Node is called Rahu and the South Node is called Ketu. We'll talk a little more on Sunday if anybody's coming to that Eclipse webinar about the dragon's head and the dragon's tail. They've got their names because of the eclipse story, but I'll explain that at the next one. Yeah. So this is the basics of the North Node. Does anyone have questions before I move on? Great. So our nodal returns, when it comes back to the spot where it was when we were born, these are turning points where we have the opportunity. We may feel like we have extra support, or people may come into our lives that lead us into good things, or opportunities come to us, or we feel more courage and confidence to move ourselves forward when the North Node comes back in transit to where it was when we were born. Now, when the South Node comes to where the North Node was when we were born, that can be a little bit uncomfortable because our comfort zone is activated, and sometimes people can come into our lives, or situations can come up to us. And if we're living in a very habitual pattern, there can be, discomfort or lessons learned or karmic stories activated that we need to work through. So it's just good to know and keep aware of when that is happening. And also there's also points where they square, but we won't get into that for today. So it's important to know where your North Node is by sign, and that's what we're going to focus on today, the signs, and also by house. Now, the houses are somewhat similar, but there are some different stories, especially evolutionary astrologers look at the houses as an added additional layer, but we're going to focus on the signs for tonight. Yeah. So the North Node in Aries. So Aries, the sign of the ram, wants, you to be assertive, take action, be brave. So here, this shows how we have an axis. So this is a representation of a flat chart where Aries, the sign of Aries, is always at the first house, and you can see the houses are here. And I also have here the planets that rule the signs. So just so you know what you're looking at. So when the North Node is in Aries, it means the South Node must be in Libra. So that means for people who have the North Node in Aries, that they may have some of the shadow sides of Libra that show up more. The goal is to balance these two energies of Aries and Libra in order to stretch yourself more towards the Aries side. But you don't totally give up the Libra side. It's like, it's beautiful that you have that partnership goal, the goal to keep people working in harmony and have balance, but it means you're supposed to stretch. So ideas for you, if you have a North Node in Aries, is to really cultivate independence, develop some leadership skills, and take calculated risks. So push yourself out of your comfort zone in order to speak your truth, which can be really difficult for someone with a South Node in Libra, because you want everyone to get along and everything to be nice potentially. Asserting your needs. Aries is a fire sign. So having boundaries, clear boundaries, is something that's called for with a North Node in Aries. Or just, in fact, just say no. If you don't want to do something, just say no. There's no need to beat around the bush and give like 5 to 10 reasons why you don't want to do it. I don't have the bandwidth for that. So the task for you is to release the Libra, release codependence, work on the healthy boundaries, make clear decisions and avoiding the indecisiveness. And yeah, don't just go along to get along. So that is the Aries Libra axis. Now, the reverse is the opposite. So when you have a North Node in Libra, you really want to embrace diplomacy, perhaps in a past life, or it is in your nature to feel like there always needs to like be on your guard for a fight or have a competition, or, you know, the evolutionary astrology thinks maybe you were a warrior in a past life. And yeah, so you want to embrace these Libra tendencies where you're working more to have teamwork, socialize with people, find some inner peace and release that fight or flight inner reaction. And yeah, and embrace compassion or sensitivities for the feelings of others. Yes, stop itching for a fight, as well as being aware of projection. So the first house is where we have the sign of Aries, and the seventh house, the sign of Libra. And we call the seventh house is also like the house of projection. So the first house is the self, is our identity. And at times when people have planets or things in the seventh house, it can speak to what we project onto others. So that's another thing to be aware of when you have a North Node in Libra. And I don't think I mentioned that the nodes look like a horseshoe. The North Node looks like a horseshoe, and the South Node looks like an upside down horseshoe on your chart. Yeah. And depending on the software you're using when you pull a chart, for instance, astro.com only puts the North Node on. And I'm sure there's a way to add the South Node, but you just have to know the South Node is in the opposite sign, directly opposite. Yeah.
Hey, Celeste, can I make a question? Or I don't know if I should write it on the chat or.
Just ask, Laura.
Okay. My question is, we're talking about the signs here, right? Aries,
yes.
And Libra, right? But what about the houses the nodes are in? I mean, my nodes are in the first and the seventh house. So does it relate to these Aries, Libra?
Yes.
Economy?
Yes. So I would recommend that, yeah, you take notes for the house as well as the sign. So yeah, this is the first and seventh house axis as well. So the North Node in Aries has similarities and overlap with the first house, North Node in the first house, and the North Node in the seventh house has similarities with the North Node in Libra.
Perfect. Thank you very much, Celeste.
Oh, you're very welcome, Laura. Yeah. Do you have your North Node in your seventh house?
Yes. And my son is there. So that's a funny thing.
Yes, that speaks to the horary story. I'm so proud of you for saying a goodbye. So yeah, that was the axis of relationships. So relationships are very in focus for people who have their nodes on those axes in life. And it can be relationships with, romantic partners, relationships with friends, relationships with business partners, things like that. Yeah. So the North Node in Taurus. So now we're talking about the Taurus and Scorpio axis. It's the axis of possessions. I call it the axis of power. It's the axis of that personal power versus shared power, personal possessions versus shared possessions, and our values around intimacy. Yes. So for this, you can also listen to the second house. Taurus rules naturally the second house, and Scorpio rules naturally the eighth house. So if your North Node is in Taurus, Taurus is a sign that it's the bull. It's an earth sign. It's a fixed sign. It wants to just keep things going the way they are. And it's about it's ruled by Venus. It's about enjoying the simple pleasures in life. Venus rules money, values, as well as beauty and relationships. Yeah. So when I look at the Venus in Taurus, or where it is right now, or the North Node in Taurus, I'm thinking it has more to do about resources and values. And so managing your money well is something that is good to do if you have a North Node in Taurus. Sometimes people rely a little bit too much with that South Node in Scorpio on resources coming in from the other, potentially their parents or something of that effect. Yeah, it's also about knowing your worth. Taurus can have issues around self-esteem. So working to build your self-esteem. You can have a little list that you do about what you admire about yourself is a good way to cultivate that North Node in Taurus. Yeah. And continuing to move forward in steps and try to release being stuck. Yeah. As well as focusing on your own life rather than, being worried about obsessing about others. A South Node in Scorpio can have a desire to merge so much that there's a level of obsession with other people. Yes. And releasing control. A Scorpio shadow can be over controlling or jealous of others, or yeah, I say don't hate, appreciate is a wonderful way to move away from that South Node in Scorpio, and also avoiding chaos. Um, Scorpio is a sign, it's ruled by Pluto and traditionally by Mars. So Pluto speaks to the subconscious and wanting to have that birth, death, rebirth cycle over and over again. And on the shadow side, that transformation can be somewhat chaotic. So it's like releasing that intensity and enjoying the yum yum in life is what you want to do with this axis. But you want to balance to two energies, not, Scorpio's a beautiful sign as well. And so Scorpio, if your North Node is here in the sign of Scorpio, you want to embrace your power and face your shadow. The beautiful thing about Scorpio, this is a wonderful North Node in Scorpio, or just like a strong Scorpio signature is, a detective, someone has a researcher's brain, is able to, a psychologist, someone who's able to help face their own shadow and help other people face the shadows of life. Share the wealth. Taurus can kind of hold on. The South Node in Taurus can kind of hold on and not want to share their possessions or be possessive about their money or wealth. So share the wealth. Really enjoy sensuality. Enjoy the yum yum factor of life. You are definitely supposed to enjoy sex if you have a North Node in Scorpio, or at least evaluate trying to enjoy sex. There could be other things in the chart that deal with that. But anyway, you're trying to get out of your comfort zone as well. So releasing some of the Taurus shadow sides, like avoiding just being stagnant and staying in a bad situation for a long time. I know of what I speak with a Taurus sun. Sometimes it's, it is hard to move away from a negative situation if it's comfortable. Yeah, recognize as well when you're projecting is something that's good to do when you have a North Node in Scorpio, and releasing shame about your shadow. It's yeah, it's we all have them. It's healthy to face them and yeah, and work to be a little less stubborn. That's a shadow of Taurus. Yeah, so I like to call the Gemini and the Sagittarius axis the axis of knowledge. It's about knowledge, it's about communication. Gemini is about gathering the facts. Sagittarius is about the big story, the bigger picture. And it's like little mind Gemini, big mind Sagittarius. I think versus I seek. So this as well speaks to the third house Gemini and the ninth house Sagittarius. So if your North Node is in Gemini, you want to work on releasing like an old story. Sometimes when people have a South Node in Sagittarius, they've grown up in a very, very some kind of indoctrination, whether it be religious or political or just that is their nature, that they think they know everything about certain things or everything about everything on the really, really shadow side. So with Gemini, have curiosity, gather the facts, honor other people's opinions, and admit when you're wrong. That's a big one that can be hard for people who have a North Node in Gemini. And stop talking. Listen. Listen to someone else intently. And definitely Gemini calls for developing a journaling practice. I think journaling is so healthy for everyone to get your thoughts out of your mind and onto the paper. And it's also good to read back what you wrote and reevaluate it. So yeah, so stop preaching and proselytizing. If you that's a South Node in Sagittarius shadow, releasing self-righteousness. Don't drink the Kool-Aid. And I love this. One of my mentors, Sarah, talks about decolonize your mind. That's a way, have curiosity past what you thought was the real story with this. And then the North Node in Sagittarius is calling for you to release being so lost in the details of things that you don't see the big picture. Gemini is ruled by Mercury. And when people have a strong Mercury, or depending on the conversations it's having in your chart, there can be anxiety or worry. So it's releasing that sweating the small stuff. I have my South Node in the third house, so I know of what I speak about, really sweating the small stuff and wanting everything to be perfect and things like that. Gemini can sometimes be a little embellish the truth. So don't be deceptive with a North Node in Sagittarius. Release that if that's a problem. So really seeing the big picture, quieting the mind, speaking your truth, and trying to, what is your philosophy? So if you have a North Node in Sagittarius, I would suggest as some homework to, write down and journal about what your philosophy is. It's also about trusting your gut. Sagittarius is a fire sign. It's ruled by Jupiter. Fire is about intuition. So yeah, trusting your gut. And being able to sit with yourself. Gemini kind of wants to be busy all the time. Allow some boredom, slow down, just sit, meditate. Great. So are there any questions before I move on? We're halfway through the signs. I was opening my water. Sorry, that was loud. Great. So the North Node in the Cancer and Capricorn axis, the North Node in Cancer and the South Node in Capricorn. So I'm calling this the axis of legacy. So Cancer speaks to our home, our roots. It also can be about the mother story. And Capricorn is like where we are out in the world, our reputation, our career, our status, our legacy that we build outside versus the inheritance or the ancestry we come from. Yeah. So your North Node is in Cancer, then you're letting go of the shadows of Capricorn. So Cancer is ruled by the moon. So when we think about the moon, we think about emotions. So embracing your vulnerability. So being able to feel all the feels and be okay with sitting with that. It's okay to cry. Working on deepening your empathy for others and holding space for them and allowing true intimacy with. Oh, I think someone's not on mute. Yeah. Allowing true intimacy with yourself and others, not just your romantic partners, but your friends, your children, whoever. Yes. So Capricorn ruled by Saturn. So Saturn is a planet of discipline, structure, and releasing control of others. A shadow side of Capricorn, the manager, can be wanting to, micromanage other people's activities. So releasing that. Yeah, a helicopter mom comes to mind when I think about a South Node in Capricorn. Shedding the hard shell. Um, with that, yeah, shedding the hard outer shell that Saturn can sometimes bring, and avoiding intimacy by overworking can be something that happens, or doing something else. So really working to let your walls down and not suppressing emotions. They're healthy and need to be expressed. Yeah, so if your North Node is in Capricorn, you're meant to show up out in the world. So embrace having goals. I call it goal digging. I didn't make that up. I mean, gold diggers. I just love that. Yes. And pursuing excellence. Capricorn is a sign. It's an earth sign. It loves excellence. Cancer, a water sign, really loves getting into the emotions. So if your South Node is in Cancer, you might have a tendency to be over emotional. So emotions are healthy, but you don't want to overreact or live in the story of your family wound forever. Yeah, and work on decreasing dependency on others. So moving away from that family story and letting go of immaturity. Yeah, so as well with the North Node and Capricorn, building self-confidence and developing the boundaries and being responsible for yourself are things to embrace, as well as with the same was North Node in the 10th house. So next we're up to North Node in Leo. Oh, apologies. I meant to change that to axis of, this is the axis of creativity. It's our children versus other people's children. And our children can be as well things we create, what brings us joy. So this also speaks to the 5th house and the 11th house. The 5th house of our personal joy, and the 11th house of sharing joy and creativity with the groups. Yeah, so North Node in Leo is a hard one because it goes against what we're told to do, especially for women. It's like, you are supposed to be center stage. It's okay to draw attention to yourself. You are here to draw attention to yourself and speak your truth and share your creativity and your drama and radiate self-confidence. Leo is a fire sign. It's ruled by the sun. You are here to shine your light if you have a North Node in Leo. And sometimes that can, other people can be uncomfortable with that, or people who have a North Node in Leo can also be uncomfortable with that because their South Node is in the sign of Aquarius. And Aquarius can be like the rebel or the exile or the someone who doesn't want to fit in and or just doesn't fit in. So it can be very uncomfortable stretch with that North Node in Leo. but really work to let go of the detachment. Can be a shadow side of Aquarius, or bowing to the pressure of the group. Like Aquarius is also the sign of the humanitarian, who's really concerned about the others, and having it's a beautiful sign that wants everyone to be treated equally, but releasing the pressure of the peers is a great thing to do when you reach into your North Node in Leo. And stop being a wallflower. Get out into the middle of the floor and dance whenever we can do dancing again. Yeah, that'll be nice. Maybe in 2022. Yeah. And so the next axis is, oh my goodness, it says, oh no, it's the same thing. Oh, so now we're talking about the North Node in Aquarius, and apologies, this should say the axis of creativity. Yes. So with the North Node in Aquarius, you don't need to draw all the attention to yourself. So this is the opposite, the North Node in the 11th house and the South Node in the 5th house. Now, with my South Node in Virgo, normally I would freak out that I obviously did not, I was moving so fast today. I didn't spend enough time reviewing, but I will fix these slides. But yes, I am not going to freak out about this. I'm just going to apologize and keep going. So it's, you want to share the spotlight and embrace your individuality. Be objective and consider the group and not just, your own personal needs. Again, you want to save the drama for your mama when you have a South Node in Leo, and release excessive pride. Stop seeking approval from others if you have a South Node in Leo. So sometimes Leo wanting the approval of others in order to, be center stage. You're trying to release that if your North Node is in Aquarius. And yeah, with the drama, there's no need to be extreme. And again, letting go of some immaturity. Leo's also the sign of the child. Yeah, so just a note, apologies, I didn't move the nodes. It should be South Node in the 5th, North Node in the 11th. Yes. And now we are to the Virgo and Pisces axis. And this is the axis of health. I see Pisces as the mental health, and Virgo as more how we take care of our physical health. So Virgo is the sign of I serve. It's about work, health, service, our daily life, our daily routines, chop wood, carry water. And Pisces is the opposite sign over here, the sign of I believe and merging and mysticism. So with a North Node in Virgo, your task is to move away from the South Node in Pisces and bring order to chaos. To be of service and develop healthy routines. Embrace the details. So details is for you. As well as embracing moderation is a good thing to do, because with the South Node in Pisces, sometimes escapism through whatever, daydreaming, alcohol, other drugs, what have you, overwork, whatever, can be something that is habitual that you want to release. You also want to discard victim syndrome. Sometimes Pisces, a water sign, people can get wrapped up in feeling like a victim on the shadow side, or, be very distracted or kind of in a daze, or a space cadet is a shadow sign of Pisces. So this is what you want to release in order to move into that earth sign of Virgo, where you bring some order to the chaos. And again, I didn't change the axis. I was doing this at midnight last night. My apologies. Yes. So anyway, with a North Node in Pisces, you want to meditate is one of the best things you can do to get out of your mind. Virgo can be a little anxious. It's ruled by Mercury. So getting out of your mind and into your body. Pisces is a water sign. So really connecting with your intuition can be helpful for you. You want to trust the universe and work on being non-judgmental. Virgo on the shadow can be overly critical and perfectionistic, and wanting to release that, and embracing change with the North Node in Pisces is also great. Yeah, and nurturing compassion. Get out of the habit of analysis paralysis and checking, triple checking, quadruple checking, although I should have done that today. Anyway, and yeah, stop blaming the blame game. A shadow side of Virgo can be being overtly critical or spending too much time and excessive worry. Yes. So that is the run through between the signs. Virgo, the 6th house, Pisces, the 12th house. So that is the access for that as well. So are there any questions about the signs or anything I presented so far about the nodes before we move on? Or Vicky, do you want to check the chat and let me know if there's anything that someone asked that I can address?
There were no questions yet.
Oh, yeah, someone just spoke up, yes?
Yes, I completely missed the Libra when we were going over the Aries. So I was wondering if you could just go back and recap the Libra node.
Oh, sure. So the North Node in Libra. So Libra is a sign of partner. It's ruled by Venus, so the planet of love. So if you have a North Node in Libra, your South Node's in Aries. So you want to move away from the I am, Aries ruled by Mars, taking action for the self, to considering the other and embracing diplomacy and teamwork and being more sensitive to other people's feelings potentially. Yeah, and reaching out and to socialize more. And working to find inner peace. When people have a South Node in Aries, the evolutionary story could be that you were a warrior in a past life and always feeling like you're on guard, and so working to let go of that, or working as well to let go of competitiveness and just trying to calm down that Mars energy. So I hope that helps, Nicole.
Thank you.
Oh, you're very welcome. Anyone else?
I wanted to ask you, Celeste, would you say that the nodes also speak to the mission, like in terms of, like your profession or whatever you're meant to do, like as a way to serve others in this life?
It very well could be, especially if you have your North Node in the 10th house. It could be like your spiritual mission through your work to move towards your North Node. But yeah, it is your karmic journey, I believe. So moving away from the South Node, which is karma, which is, the actions you've taken before to Dharma, the path you should be on, the righteous path. So yes, I feel like it's a very spiritual thing. It's a spiritual journey. When you embrace your North Node, it will bring blessings into your life. When planets go over your North Node, like especially like Venus or whatever, people come into your life that means something in relationship to the planet. Like if it was Pluto, it could be someone here to transform you, or if it's Mars, someone to inspire you to take action, or the sun helping you shine your light or bring you out into the world. So when planets go over the North Node, it's nice. It speaks to gains and things. When planets go over the South Node, it can trigger a karmic story. So it can trigger you to view things that are habitual in a new way, or somebody could come in to resolve karma from a past life or things like that. Yeah, so it's really good to be aware if they pass over your personal planets, especially when there are eclipses in that sign. So people who have planets in Gemini, the North Node is in Gemini now, and the South Node is in Sagittarius. Does that answer your question, Laura?
Yes, perfectly, because that's what I meant, like your spiritual mission, right? In this
Mm-hmm.
life, you can help others through that own path of, growing yourself, right?
Yes.
That
Exactly.
can sometimes or cannot transform into like your career or the thing that you do every day as a work, as a job,
Mm-hmm. It could also be like if your North Node is in the 5th house, maybe your destiny is to be someone's mother or father, and that is your spiritual path. It's in the home, not out in the world. Or if it's in the 4th house or something like that. If it's, yeah. So yeah, especially if it's in the 10th or the 6th, I think it can be much more related to work. But well, if it's in the 7th, it can be related to a business partnership. So typically, I mean, we're social creatures, so it typically would have to do with others. And how much you feel it can depend on your specific chart, and whether, if you have planets that are touching the nodes, that adds another layer to your story. Okay, well, I'm going to jump into talking about moon mastery, and then we will bring up people and talk. And
I think we have two questions.
Oh, go ahead, Vicki.
How do the houses impact the North Node journey?
So when you're reading for the nodes, I would recommend reading for the sign of the node and the house of the node. Now the house there's additional flavors with the houses, but yeah, you can just, to keep it easy, you can read the sign and the house. So you weave the story together. So sometimes people don't feel, they're like, oh, I feel comfortable with the sign. It doesn't feel like a stretch, but maybe the house topic feels like a big stretch.
And how often does it pass over the planets?
So the journey of the nodes come back to where they were at the time that you were born. So they circle around the whole chart every 18.6 years. So around 18 and a half years. They come back to where they were, and on the converse, they come back to the opposing one. The transiting North Node will be near the South Node where you were born, starting at age 9, and then every 18.6 years after that. And so when things come to your North Node, it's usually pulling towards your destiny. And when they come to the South Node, it's stirring up potentially a karmic story, especially if you're living your South Node. So a lot of times people really don't feel drawn into their North Node till they're in their 30s or 40s. So if you're not feeling it yet, especially if you're if you haven't had that first go round, well, 18, everybody here should be older than 18. So you probably have had it, but especially once you hit that 37-year mark, there should be some more, at least idea within you that something is telling you to pull towards this North Node, or you can feel how it will help you.
I'm sorry, I have a question about that. I have my North Node is in Aquarius in the 3rd house.
Mhm.
And is Jupiter and Saturn, that they're in Aquarius right now, right? Does that
Yes.
influence like my North Node now more so maybe than like last year when it was in Capricorn?
Yes, definitely. So yes, the social planets, Jupiter and Saturn, speak to like where we're going as a collective. Jupiter expands, Saturn brings structure. So it's a wonderful time for you to like be thinking about, where do you want to take your life's journey next? How do you want to expand? What new structures do you want to build beneath yourself? When they're in the same sign, it can help us to to start a new story where we have some support to not, expand past what is healthy for us or take on things too fast or too big. So that's great. Yeah, they met, Jupiter and Saturn met at 0 degrees of Aquarius on the solstice, December 21st last year, starting us all on this new story. So I think that's great, Donna.
Thank you so much. That helped a lot. Thank you.
Oh, you're very welcome. Yeah, so listen into your inner voice and really notice who's coming into your life, especially when they're really close to the degree. What do you know what degree your North Node is in Aquarius?
23.
Okay, so Jupiter just went over it recently. Did you meet anyone or like sign up to take any new skills or feel a pull to expand your skill set recently?
Yeah, I've been much more social and out there with my business and having more partnerships. So I think so.
Yeah, that is Jupiter expanding yourself. Wonderful.
Awesome.
Wonderful, wonderful. Yeah. So, I mean, Saturn can contract as well, but I also like to think of it as, just bringing us the structure on the positive side of Saturn. Great. So we are going to talk about moon mastery for a minute before we jump into the chart readings. So again, I'm so excited that Patricia, Cynthia, Claire, Lori, Karen, and Kim have already signed up for Moon Mastery. I am going to drop in the chat, I'm going to drop the link. So if you want to sign up, it's on my website, Astrology by Celeste. I will give you a shout out tonight, but it's a tool for self-discovery and manifesting with more ease. So what we're going to do in this course, it's about, we're going to go over the basics, and it's great to learn the basics of astrology. We're really going to focus in on like the personal planets, especially your sun, moon, and rising, in order to help you have a deeper connection, especially with your moon sign and the moon in general, in order to help you connect into your intuition. I think one of the best things about working with the moon, which we've kind of as a society moved away from, we're so, especially in the United States and Western society, so solar focused on, going going, rather than taking the time to reflect and release, which the moon calls for in her cycles, especially after the full moon. We're supposed to release, and during the balsamic moon, we're supposed to rest, and even during the new moon phase. So life is meant to be a cycle, not just a straight line. So I think it really helps us connect into that. And so we're going to really get into working with the moon and her phases so that you can take your goals forward in manageable pieces with a structure and a simple framework, and creating an action plan for where you're going to work on, what areas you're going to work on in your life going forward. So like we're getting ready to do, we're going to talk about people's charts. People in the class who want to have their charts discussed are going to come up and see really the astrology in action. And during the course, you will definitely get an understanding of some of your hidden talents and your blind spots and things like that. Yes, and there's going to be a VIP community as well, because one of my goals is to build community with people. So yeah, you will learn so much about yourself and have a framework to move goals forward in manageable ways. So why would you want to do this? You want to understand your cosmic blueprint, and really understanding your natal chart is life-changing. I mean, it just opened my eyes and my clients at just seeing them connect with their story in new ways. It's just so beautiful. And it really provides a flashlight to slice through the shadows and illuminate the dark spaces, and move away from seeking outside guidance and really trusting the wisdom of your inner voice. Yeah, and it's fun. Learning astrology is so fun and insightful. It's addictive for some of us, like myself, who's a complete addict, and I know very many fellow addicts, but it's calorie-free. And and working with the moon cycles really will help you reduce your stress when you work with the natural rhythms, bring more joy, help you achieve your goals, and you will build better relationships with people as well. Yeah, and build self-compassion. Astrology really is the language of self-compassion and compassion for others. So by the end of the course, you will have a new perspective to make more conscious decisions and improve your personal relationships and achieve your goals in life. It's a personalized framework will guide you for 6 months to keep advancing your journey, so that you build the habit of working with the moon cycles and following the moon as you go. Yeah, so the class is 6 weeks. We're starting May 2nd. We're taking a break for the U.S. holiday of Memorial Day. I teach on Sundays, and it'll be live on Zoom. If you miss a class, it'll be available to watch later. You will get a gorgeous set of these moon phase and zodiac sign altar cards that you can put on, the area where you journal or write about your new moon intentions and things like that. You'll keep up with the daily moon with the moon memos that I will send about the moon transits. The moon changes signs every 2.5 days, as well as you'll get an opportunity to get a 20% off a reading or a coaching program. And if you sign up before April 20th, you'll receive a beautiful solar fire chart that has your chart and what fixed stars and other things that are for when you were born. Yeah. And so I had said the first 8 students were going to get at the last one, hot takes on their natal chart. But since so many people signed up early, I moved that to 12. So thank you, Patricia, Cynthia, Claire, Lori, Karen, and Kim. I'm so excited that you are taking this journey with me. And so I'm going to do another 6 students. So the next 6 students who sign up are going to get my hot takes on their natal chart. I'll tape a Zoom for you. So the investment. So it's an $860 value, but with a one-time payment of $440. That is the price of this course. Or if you want to do 2 payments, you can do 260 each. Space is limited, so sign up if you're interested. And it would be my honor to assist you on your journey. And thank you so much for considering it. But whether you decide to do Moon Mastery or not, I'm glad you're here. You can always, I offer readings and other services as well. But I always like to provide free content. Yes. So these are some resources. Astrology for the Soul by Jan Spiller. I recommend everyone read this book. It's so comprehensive. It goes into each of the signs. So you read the sign of your North Node and the house of your North Node. Stephen Forrest, Yesterday's Sky is really cool. He really views it from an evolutionary astrology point of view. So it really gets into reincarnation. Judith Hill's book is really interesting. As part of it is a series of the lectures she's given. And if you Google Nodal Returns, Tom Jacobs has a great article on the internet that talks about, what to expect when you have a nodal return square or reverse return. Yeah. And I'm using Solar Fire software. So this is just where you can find me. My website, you can subscribe. I do new moon and full moon guidance. Take Moon Mastery 101. You can book a reading, event, or coaching program. With my 20 plus years of corporate experience, I like helping people evolve with their careers. And every Sunday at 9:30 a.m., I do an Instagram Live, and I talk about current events of the week. And and then pull cards for guidance. And I talk about the transits and whatnot too. And then I have a lot of content on my YouTube channel. Great. So
I'm sorry. Did you mention where they can sign up?
Yes, I'm going to drop that in the chat right now.
Okay.
I meant to do that at the start.
And then there was one more question.
Yes.
North Node is in Capricorn, 1527 degrees. So that means my South Node is in Cancer, 1527 degrees.
Exactly. Yes. Yes. Great. So the link is here to sign up for Moon Mastery. Are there any questions about the program before we go on to pull people's charts? No? Okay, great. So
I have a question.
Yes.
I mean, I'm already in the program, but we don't need any kind of like the software, like the Solar Fire or anything.
Oh,
like
no.
Okay.
I'll be giving you a copy of your chart. So yeah, you don't need any software. I use Solar Fire, so I just like to point it out.
Okay, cool. Thanks.
Yeah. Wonderful. Great. Oh, Nicole, see that link right below. You can sign up. I would be so honored to have you. So now if you want me to talk about your chart, I'll go for as long as I can. And we're going to start. So put your birth information. You can send it directly to Vicky, or you can just drop it in the chat, and she will send it over to me. And we are going to go. I have one in here already. So we are going to start with Kaylin. So Kaylin, do you want to come off mute?
Yeah. Hi.
Hi, how are you?
Fine. How are you?
I am good. Now I want to see if I can see you. Okay. Yeah, I can see you right here. Wonderful. So this is your chart.
Mm-hmm.
And let me move this over just a bit. So you're a balsamic moon Aries baby. I love it.
Actually, you have me at 11 a.m. It's 11 p.m.
Oh.
Yeah.
I'm glad you caught that. I'm like, so no, you are not.
I'm a new moon baby.
Yeah. Yes, you're a new moon, baby.
Yeah.
Wonderful. Great. Sorry about that.
No, no,
So
you're fine.
fire, fire, fire.
Yeah.
Sun in Aries, moon in Aries, and you're a Sagittarius rising.
Hmm.
And then can you see me circling, Vicky? Or Kaylin, you can tell me. Can you see me
Yeah.
circling things?
Yes.
Great. So you're at a North Node in Pisces, like
Mhm.
me, at a
Yeah.
South Node in Virgo. Now, this is very interesting because your North Node is in the 3rd house. So North Node in Pisces with the South Node in Virgo, do you find yourself struggling with perfectionism or perfectionist
Yeah.
tendencies?
Yes. When you were going over the slide, I was like, yes, I worry a lot.
Yes, yeah. So do you ever meditate or what do you do to
Um, I sometimes do, but I keep telling myself like you need to get into a regular meditation thing, like doing it daily is what I keep telling myself I need to do for stress, but
Mhm.
I haven't committed to that yet.
There's this great thing called the core. It's like a ball. It's a meditation ball, so it brings like a tactile sense to it, and you don't have very much earth in your chart, so you might like it. So they have all these like 10 tons of meditations that some of them are only 3 minutes, some of them are only less than 10 minutes. So you might want to look into that. And so I think it's
Okay.
like $100 and something, but that might help you have the practice, or even like yoga or any kind of thing that gets you out of your head and
Yeah.
into your body. Now, what's interesting when you have a North Node in the 3rd house, it's also has like a Gemini feel. So it's interesting. It's kind of a little, maybe there's just more of a seesaw. Do you have, did it speak to you when I was talking about the North Node in Gemini at all? About,
Um, I'm not sure that I was.
okay, like releasing like the big story that maybe like some indoctrination, potentially even from your childhood, or gathering the facts and like having more curiosity with the story, or do you feel
I'm not
comfortable with that already?
I might feel comfortable with that already.
Okay.
Yeah, I
Yeah.
feel like it's definitely the perfectionist thing is definitely a big thing. Like people are
Mhm.
always telling me like stop worrying so much.
Okay.
Like, I know.
Yeah. It is such a nice release. And when you move into your North Node, let me do this. Your North Node there's a blue line between your North Node and Chiron, the wounded healer.
Mhm.
So that means when you work with your North Node, it will help bring some healing to you. And yeah, I think that's it. You'll really enjoy it. If you're married, it may even help improve your relationship or with business partners. Chiron's in the 7th house. So that's something to think about. And there's also an opportunity, to have epiphanies come through when you meditate, or things like that, because it's in a sextile. This is an opportunity, this little short blue line here
Okay.
for you. Yeah. And then you've got this, it squares your Jupiter. So squares speak to like some kind of a skipped step with Jupiter in that. There's some karma around it, how you expand, or maybe people who have come into your life through relationships, Jupiterian types, which could be on the positive side, teachers and spiritual people. On the negative side, they can be like a blowhard or overindulgent. So you can just think about that. Have you had anyone come into your life that speaks to that karmic story?
Okay.
You don't have to share it with us.
Okay.
So I hope that was helpful. Any questions?
Well, I quickly Googled when you had the resource page up, I Googled that internet article you had said just quickly about the square, and I saw that it happens around 32 and a half, and I just turned 32. So what could I be in for?
Yeah, so it'd be really interesting. Keep note of people who you meet, who come in, and it could be, are you single or married or what?
Well, I just got engaged recently.
Okay, great.
So I
Yes.
think that probably would be 32 and a half would be around October of this year for me.
Yeah. So as you're planning your wedding, yeah, think about if anything comes in that's a bit uncomfortable, because when it squares the north node, it also squares the south node. So there could be someone like that excessive worry, like someone may reflect back at you around that. And so really listen in. Especially as you're planning a wedding, you don't want to go into bridezilla mode and have people all stressed out about the whole thing. So yeah, it's a really good opportunity for learning or resolving some kind of karma.
Okay. All right. Well, thank you.
You're very welcome. That's so cool. Yeah, although I will say you already, wait, where are we? Pisces. Oh, yeah. Okay. Yeah, it's coming towards that square. I see. Sorry, I got confused for a second. Stop sharing for a second. Okay. Vicki, did you send me a text? Let's see.
Yes, I did.
Okay. So next up is Rosemary. Hi, Rosemary, the chef.
Hello. Oh my God, I'm so excited.
Oh, good. Okay. Let me share my screen. Okay. Apologies if you can hear my dogs snoring. So let me know if I make any mistakes with what I'm typing.
Hey, I'm watching.
Okay, here we go. Great. Yes. So Rosemary, oh, you're a sun in Aries, a birthday coming soon.
Yes. Sunday.
Oh, happy birthday. A moon in Aries as well. So you're a balsamic phase. So you were born before the new moon, unlike Kaylin, who was born after the new moon. And you can tell that where the position the moon is in relationship to the sun with the phases. That's what we're always talking about. So fire, and then a Virgo rising with the earth. A chef, that totally makes sense, serving people with food and caring about the quality of the ingredients and all of that stuff. The thing that jumps out at me, I just have to say, is you have a mystic rectangle. This is a chart pattern. This
what does that mean?
This blue box. It means that you have some kind of destiny, a calling. That have you felt like you have a calling for something? And you may not, it may not have come up yet. The nodes are in the Gemini and Sagittarius axis.
I'm not sure. I feel like when you were talking about the nodes before, and you were basically saying like seeing the larger picture and quieting your mind and trusting your intuition, I think I get a little foggy and I might have the calling, but other things come into my mind, and then I kind of get, like the big Aries that I am, I kind of get, distracted and move on to the next project.
Mm-hmm.
So, I can definitely sense a calling. I just don't know exactly what it is. I know that it's, excuse me, definitely around food, and serving people in a sort of hospitable way. I know that for sure. I don't know, I was talking about going into wine now, so things are a little cloudy.
Okay. Yeah. So it is with, it definitely has, it's so interesting. Your North Node is in the 4th house of home and your roots and things like that. So the Cancer, North Node in Cancer speaks to that as well, but that also feeds nurturing people, feeding people through food. Yeah, that's really nice. But it also has to do with out in the world, because the mystic rectangle also touches your midheaven, which is the highest point in the sky, which speaks to your reputation, your career, your calling. The moon and Venus are also involved. So you said hospitality. Maybe there's something around hospitality. You're doing something to help people like nurture themselves in some way. And Jupiter is also part of this mystic rectangle in Libra, which Libra is ruled by Venus as well. So that well speaks to that hospitality, elegance, helping people connect or something, or socialize or something like that speaks to me. So yeah, and it may, when something triggers your one of these planets or points, maybe when you feel like you start being pulled towards it. How old are you?
I'm turning 28 on Sunday.
Oh, so you haven't even had your Saturn return yet. Okay. It may happen after your Saturn return, something gets triggered and you.
I'm hoping so, because that just made me really excited. That sounds pretty awesome. A mystic rectangle.
Yeah. Yeah. And
you're calling.
Yeah. And you just had the reverse nodal return. So let me show you. Let's see. Okay, so this is such a great example of the reverse nodal return. So this is it. Let me draw. So see how your North Node is in Sagittarius here?
Yes.
And the South Node literally just went over your North Node in transit, the wheel outside. So you're on the inside. Outside is where the planets are right now.
Got it.
So you see that? So really be open to who comes into your life around this time, or opportunities that come up. We're getting ready to have eclipses in May 26th, June 10th. So, but it could have been before that with there were eclipses. They've been in Sagittarius and Gemini for a while, and see if it triggers up an old story. So having your South Node in Gemini, do you get overly anxious or worrying or those sorts of things?
I would say so from time to time.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. Yeah. And really leaning into, I would suggest for you to like journal about what is your philosophy. So and just work on that story. And it may not be clear until after you go through that rite of passage of the Saturn return, but it's good to start like thinking about that and evaluating that, because there's a lot of energy with these eclipses, the new moons and times 10 or solar eclipses, full moons times 10, or lunar eclipses. They're activating your axis of your IC and your highest point where you meet the world. So your foundation and your place out in the world. So the axis of legacy. So So just be aware of that.
Awesome. Thank you
Really-
so much, Celeste.
You're welcome. Really great.
And thank you everyone for the birthday shout outs.
Wonderful. Such a nice, I've been so lucky. Always such wonderful, nice people come to my events so far. I love it. Great. So let's see who is next. Let's see. Okay, Hope. We exchanged messages earlier. Hi, Hope.
Hi,
How are you?
I'm well, thanks. How are you?
I am doing great. Okay. So August. So yeah, just double check me if you could.
You got it.
Oh, good. Okay. So here we are. Hope. Sun, Leo. We had a lot of fire people so far. I love it. Sun, Leo, Moon in Taurus. Wonderful. And a Gemini rising. So I hope you're coming on Sunday, Hope, because so we saw that with Rosemary, her midheaven and her IC. So these 4 points are the most important ones in your chart. So she's being rocked by the eclipses at the root and where she is out on the world. You are yourself versus the other, the partner, is where the eclipses are hitting you. Have you had changes about anything about your identity or your relationships, or it could be business, best friends, or anything new that you want to share? I mean, I don't want to pry.
Yeah, I mean, I think that a lot of it just is influenced by the changes that the pandemic has brought.
Yeah.
Definitely with intimate relationships.
Yeah. Yeah, definitely. Yeah, we are in a strange time. Yeah. So let's see where your North Node is in Scorpio and your South Node is in Taurus. So yeah, did that speak to you when I was talking about, being more open to transformation, getting unstuck?
Yes.
That sort of thing? Yeah. Great. Yeah. And you have a great example because you have a planet right next to your North Node. So Uranus. So people can come into your life, or like epiphanies or sudden things that happen can come in to move you on your journey. And the fact that your North Node is at 6 Scorpio is really interesting as well, because let me pull this up. Pull your transits up. Yeah. Great. So you have your Uranus and the North Node here together. And Uranus is the great awakener. It's the planet of sudden insights, sudden events, like huge events coming into your life. It's in your house of creativity. Do you do creative things?
Yeah, I'm a dancer and
Oh.
and a yoga teacher.
So you definitely have been very impacted for your career by the pandemic, but you've also had a life transit. It's called like a midnight life crisis. The Uranus opposition of a few years ago, or not a few years, last year probably. So that's really interesting because Uranus is so near your South Node in transit and your North Node, it may have brought people in your life to like kind of touch that uncomfortable story as well about South Node in Taurus, about wanting things to stay the same and getting entrenched and all that kind of stuff. Yeah, very interesting. And this is a time you see all these planets lining up to march over your South Node.
Yep.
Yeah. So yeah, be conscious of that and conscious of who you're meeting over the next month, and think about, you know, why they're in your life, or things that come up that have a flavor around Venus, relationships. This is going to be within the next couple of weeks. Friendships, how you magnetize things to each other, the sun, your will, your essence, Mercury, how you think and communicate. Over the next month, there may be some stories that come up where you have an opportunity to make different choices or do things differently and evolve and grow.
I like the idea of evolving and growing.
And yeah, and having that energy of that change cycle and being more open to it is a great thing with a North Node in Scorpio. Yeah. So any questions, or does that help?
Can you speak more to my North Node being in my 5th house?
Yes. So, well, you're a dancer, so I feel like you've already embraced that. So the 5th house is also Leo. So it's like being okay with being center stage and shining your light and being creative, taking some risks, things like that is the North Node in the 5th house.
Yeah, I teach dance for folks with Parkinson's.
Oh, wonderful. Oh, Parkinson's is astrology can be so literal. Parkinson's is a disability of the nervous system, I believe, and you have Uranus right next to your North Node. So to me, that speaks to your part of your destiny or your path to illumination, being helping people with this disability. Yeah.
I feel like it just recently when I started teaching dance for folks with Parkinson's, that it was like my calling. That's what.
And so Chiron, the wounded healer, right next to your South Node, is opposite your North Node. So it's like, as well as like you're healing some karmic story as well about helping people who are disabled. You see how Chiron looks like the wheelchair?
Yeah. Oh, cool.
Yeah, helping people who are disabled to enjoy themselves, have fun. 5th house story. Oh my God, it's so literal. I love it.
Yeah, so I just while you were talking before, I looked up Scorpio and North Node, and it's kind of scary. Like there's some scary aspects that like people talk about Scorpio and the North Node.
Yeah, so you have to be careful when you start Googling, because you could get all sorts of stuff. Cafe Astrology is a good site that is reputable and has good information, as well as those books. Definitely read Astrology for the Soul. But yeah, getting comfortable with the shadow is something that with North Node in Scorpio. And yeah, it doesn't necessarily mean people around you are going to die or anything, but yeah, you can read all kinds of stuff.
Well, it's talking about like if you aren't willing to transform and like let go, that you could possibly spend your like last years, like when you're really old, alone. And that was like, oh my goodness, that's horrible.
How rude. I don't know about that. I don't know what South Node and Taurus has to do with being alone. Yeah, and I don't see that with the 5th house either. So
We're the reputable websites to check out. Thank you.
okay, you're very welcome. Yeah, read a Cafe Pharma. Not Cafe Pharma, Cafe Astrology. I don't think it says that. Okay, let's see who is next. Oh, there's a new student, Kaylin. Thank you so much for joining. Woof, 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 woof. Ah, I'm so excited. Wonderful. Yay. Yay. Oh, hi, Erin. Oh, so glad you could make it. No worries. You have to go. I'm talking too long. Okay, I need to speed this up. I want to get to as many people as Vicky sent as we can by 7. And if we can't, I'll make sure to keep whoever we can't do. And if you come on Sunday, we'll do you first. Okay. So we're doing Aaron. Okay. Aaron, I have your information already since I've given you a reading. How are you?
I'm good. How are you?
I am good. Let's see. There you are. Okay, here we go. So, Aaron, you have your sun in Aquarius, your moon in Gemini, and you are a Capricorn rising. So, air, and earth. Yeah, and we've talked a lot about your chart, but your north node is opposite of hope. So your north node is in Taurus and your south node is in Scorpio. And and we've talked about your story. Are you okay with me saying anything about
Oh, yeah, sure.
death? Yeah. So Erin has had people close to her and her family die when she was very young. Both your parents died right before you, when you were young.
Well, my mother died when I was a little bit older, but yeah,
Uh-huh.
my father died when I was young. My brother died when I was a
Oh,
teenager.
it's your brother.
And my
Okay.
mother died when I was in my 20s.
Yeah. That's so hard. Yeah. And your north node is in Taurus. So there's something, past life about the death cycle, but you're supposed to be moving towards just enjoying more the yum factor and letting enjoying the 5 senses. Taurus ruled by Venus, the beauty of life. And you're a dancer, I know, so you bring beauty into this world. And yes.
What does it mean with the nodes being retrograde? Is that what that is?
They are always retrograde. So
they're
they're traveling backwards. So you'll always see it retrograde or have an S, which means it's stationed, which appears like it's not moving. Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah. So that doesn't mean anything additional. The conversations it's making is it's having a nice conversation with Neptune, which to me speaks to you being a dancer. Neptune, fluid, the planet of, it's a water, it's speaks to illusions, when you with performances or acting or thing, people often have a strong connection with Neptune. Yes. Yeah, it squares your sun, so you might want to, I'll have to think about that in more detail. That's squares can speak to some kind of skipped step evolutionary astrology sees in a past life. So can speak to something or someone with an Aquarius feel around that. I don't specialize in evolutionary astrology, but and Venus too is squaring the north node. So with relationships, so, there may be people who come into your life in relationships that are here to like work out old karma for you. So you have a new opportunity to have a do-over. And really it'll be interesting to see what happens. So this is good for you. Right now you're going to have a bunch of planets go over your north node. So really good to keep an eye on who is coming into your life around this time. So Venus is coming right up to your North Node. So friendships, anyone knew about friends, money, relationships, things like that. Think about that. Then the sun is going to go over your North Node as well. Could bring someone new into your life or an opportunity into your life. And Mercury, some kind of teacher or friend or some child could come into your life. Things like that. You could take moon mastery. That would be a good Mercury thing to do.
Totally. Well, that's some stuff to look forward to, or curious to see how it pans out.
Yes, yeah. And then it'll be interesting as well. So in the end of the year, the nodes will switch into North Node in Taurus, South Node in Scorpio. So you'll have a nodal return they'll be there for a year and a half. That'll be a good thing when the North Node returns to where it was when you're born. It usually brings, I talked about it earlier, some confidence or growth or something. So
amazing.
Yeah.
Great.
Yeah. You can look at an ephemeris to find out the exact date.
Cool.
But yeah.
Oh, thank you.
You're welcome.
Celeste, do you mind you jumped around a little bit. Do you mind Laura next?
Oh, yes. Oh, yes, definitely. Oh, I think, you know what? I'm reading from the bottom up. Definitely we'll do Laura because. Okay. A fellow Taurus, get ready to have a birthday. So Laura, double check to make sure it's right.
Yes, perfect.
Okay.
I'm excited.
Me too, Laura. Yes. So Laura has her North Node in Taurus.
Same as Erin, yeah.
And her South Node in Scorpio. So North Node in the 7th house as well. So people who were at the horary event, Laura shared about she had a question about a relationship, and Maria Sophia went all into it, and she updated us that she has ended that relationship. Yes, great. So you are here to enjoy the yum yum factor. Do you find that sometimes you bring in a bit of an obsession or some crises come up with yourself versus the other, in addition to the story we already heard?
Yeah, definitely. I've had to deal with, especially not that much obsession, but I do, in my relationships, I do like to be really intertwined with the other. Like, I really feel relationships are very important to me. That sun in the 7th house is like not giving me a break in that sense. And so they're really like, I feel like I'm incomplete when I'm not in a relationship somehow. That's something that I've had to work with. But definitely feel like I need to, I'm really intense. That stellium over there is just like really intense for me. And I really want to spend a lot of time with the person. I really want to do most of the things together. Not everything, because that moon in Sagittarius is like, I need a little bit of independence, but I do feel not obsessive, but I am really intense. And I'm a control freak. I just, I've dealt with that my whole life, and I'm trying to work with it. I think I've overcome it a little bit, but yes, definitely a lot of transformation, I would say. Most of
Well, that's that South Node in Scorpio is about being controlling, is about yeah, wanting to completely merge with someone. Scorpio is a water sign. Yeah, wanting to be that deep intimacy. And the call for you is to really work to work on pulling to the Taurus, where you release some of that and just enjoy the simple things and the more the lighter side of things. But it's with the sun there as well, people
That's my
will
main question, Celeste, and I'm
yeah.
sorry to interrupt, but that's what if you can interpret that for me, because it's really being like really like I'd say surprising, or like like I have a curiosity there that my sun is next to my north node, and then
Mhm.
my south node is next to my ascendant as well. Not in conjunction per se, but really close, and
Mhm.
especially because of all of that that stuff that I have in Scorpio too. So it's like an opposition. Of course, the nodes are always opposite, right? You said,
Mhm.
but I also have this opposition of the sun and the ascendant that are also, joining that opposition that the nodes are making. So it's always been like mind-boggling to me, like that
Mhm.
does have any extra meaning, or
Yeah, did you feel overlooked at all as a child?
a little.
Mhm.
I was
South.
really independent. So I never needed like my mom to take care of me in a way that most mothers do, like being protective. Or my mom always, like motivated me to be independent and to do things on my
Mhm.
own. But I did feel lonely at times. She was always
Mm.
working, traveling, and
Mhm. That speaks to that moon in Sagittarius. Yeah.
mhm.
And next to Neptune, so she wasn't around as much. And maybe when you were 3 years old, you look at the degree can speak to the age that potentially something happened, like she went to work or something like that. And maybe, your independence was a result of that. But at some point, South Node on the ascendant can speak to feeling like a sense of that you were overlooked in some ways. And so
So
you're
that
trying to build that intensity through the other, because with the sun in the seventh, that projection to the seventh house
right.
of the other or the
That
partner.
Pluto there, like conjuncting my ascendant as well. I was not a planned baby. I
Mm.
just happened, and
Mm-hmm.
I know that my mom considered not having me.
Mm.
She was really scared. She was really young, and stuff like that. So that's always been, and this is something that I recently like came to analysis with. Like I
Mm-hmm.
always knew it. Like I was like a surprise baby kind of thing, and I was her first baby. But I never saw it from that plutonian part of of my chart, where being actually Pluto in my 12th house felt like, wow, that womb part. I read
Mm-hmm.
somehow that
Mm-hmm.
the 12th house speaks to the womb, like right before we're born.
Yep. Yep.
Pluto there made me like, whoa, this is too, like you said, too literal sometimes in
Mm-hmm.
astrology. And actually, my mom died a year and a half ago.
Mm.
Suddenly, like 3 months, and she was gone. Something unexpected. She was a Taurus sun, so I don't know if that
Mm.
had to do with Uranus transiting her sun.
Ah, yep. Uranus went into Taurus in 2018, I think around March.
Right.
Yeah. Yeah. What's her birthday?
My mom's
Just a month and year. I mean,
May
month and day. May what?
May the 2nd.
Ah, yeah. So Uranus hasn't gotten to her degree yet, but it's closing in on her. It may be even when it went in the sign, something happened, but there was probably something more in her chart. We
Right.
shouldn't get into that. But I do want to say that you really spoke to an eclipse story when you were talking as well, because in November 30th, there was a lunar eclipse on your Mars and Chiron in the 8th house of the basement. So I'm not surprised that you're talking with a therapist, digging into this Plutonian 8th house story about your birth, and having Mars and Chiron here speaks to her maybe thinking about not having you and that intensity of when you were born. So really interesting. And the fact that you brought it up today, the moon being on your Chiron and your Mars, it's very interesting. Yeah. So you're going to have a North Node eclipse in your 8th house that may help bring some breakthroughs this summer on June 10th.
Right.
And help release, burn off that old story. There's going to be a lunar eclipse on May 26th. So really think about burning off any old story about that karmic, that relationship with feeling like before you were born, your mother's fear and all that kind of stuff. So I would suggest that. But yeah, just trying to embrace more Taurus things, I think will be helpful for you. Lighten up.
I've had to do a lot of work with my self-esteem in the past years. It's been, when I was younger, I had no problem with my self-esteem at all. Actually, my friends would say like, oh, if I need someone with a high self-esteem, I would call you and stuff like that, joking. But I don't know what happened, in between that made me, like fall to a really low self-esteem level. And it's been a struggle ever since in the later years. And so my take on that was that I had to work to get that self-esteem, to accept myself, to value myself, to honor myself, especially in regards to my mission, to my identity, to what that sun is telling me to do as well. That's why it was, curious for me to have the sun right there to my North Node.
Yes, yeah. So people will come into your life that help you bring you on that journey, as well as your North Node squares Jupiter. So really interesting. You had a Jupiter return recently. So
I've had 4 natal returns like in this last month. It's so fun.
Yeah, this is a big year for you. So I would say, journaling would be really good for you to think about how to develop your independence or individuality and work on that self-esteem. Maybe do like a gratitude list for yourself, things that you really admire about yourself, and work on your self-esteem in that way.
Thank you very much, Celeste. I really appreciate all your interpretation and your insights.
Oh, you're very welcome, Laura. Thank you.
Thank
you. So who is next? Vicky? I don't want to make sure I go out of order. Let me see. Let's see.
Well, why don't you start from the beginning and just call off? You did Allie already. You did Natalie. Did you do Marisol? You did Rosemary. Samantha, did you do Samantha?
No. Did I do Marisol?
You might have skipped Marisol. Let me see if she's still here.
I'm still here.
Okay, let's do Marisol. Okay. Let's see. Okay. Let me see here. And so double check Marisol to make sure it's right. Wait, no, it should have recognized New York, New York. Why didn't it?
Maybe you have to write New and York, the words.
Okay.
They're annoying like that.
Yes, there we go. Okie dokie, Marisol. So here we go. You've got a sun in Aquarius, a moon in Cancer, and a Sagittarius rising. So you're another person who's being rocked on your by the eclipses.
Yeah.
Yeah. So your North Node is in Scorpio and your South Node is in Taurus. So the opposite of the opposite of Laura. So releasing that entrenchment, do you have a difficulty evolving or changing or things like that?
I do hold on to habits. I'm really bad at breaking them.
Ah, okay. Yeah. When like being stubborn or entrenched in something, where the North Node in Scorpio really wants you to grow, and working with your moon. Yeah. So see how there's a blue line between the moon and the North Node in Scorpio? Yeah. So when you move towards your North Node in Scorpio, you activate your grand trine. A grand trine is this big triangle.
Okay.
In water. So that helps you. Like, are you very intuitive?
Yes, I am. I read cards for people.
Oh.
I'm currently on the path to initiating in some ATRs, and I'm a yoga instructor.
Ah, what are ATRs?
African traditional religions.
Oh, okay. Yeah. So you have this wonderful grand trine and water. So you are definitely doing that part of your North Node. And it's actually part of a kite, which grounds in Venus and Capricorn. So moving into your North Node, being able to transform and change and stand in your power will help you bring money, Venus and Capricorn, in your career potentially to you. So yeah, does that give you some incentive to break some habits that you you want to release and let go of? Yeah, this is beautiful. Yes.
A kite. What does that mean?
A kite. So it's a grand trine. So a grand trine is when you have a triangle where you have a planet or a key point in the three signs of an element. So this is water. Water is about intuition. It's about body knowledge. It's the emotions and things like that. And then when you have a kite, there's a planet that 2 points are called sextile, and that's an opportunity. And sextile something in the element that's compatible. So water and earth are compatible. So when you activate this planet, when you activate Venus and Capricorn, it helps you ground that kite. It helps lift it up and let it fly. So you can really see success when you do that, or really get into that ease of that emotional connection, or that lifting the veil. Being a tarot card person, I would think that would really help you with your work and finding ways to monetize it more, or build your business in some way. Venus and Capricorn.
Thank you so much for that. I also was wondering if you could speak to the 11th house placement of the node.
Yeah. So can you be overly dramatic?
Hell yeah, I'm also a drag queen.
Okay, well, that speaks to, well, you're a drag queen, so that's part of the dramatic, but letting space for other people to shine as well, having a North Node in the 11th house, not taking all the attention for yourself.
Okay.
So think about that.
Okay.
Okay. Well, thank you. Yeah. Well, I'm going to do just a couple more people. Sorry, I talk too slow. But if I don't get you today, I will get you on Sunday if you're able to come. It had been sold out, but I opened up more spaces for it. So you can definitely join. I don't think I did Allie. Did I do Allie? Is she still here? Shout out now or hold your peace. Natalie wants to hear. Is Natalie, are you still there? I see a Natalie. Is this you, Natalie? From the Bronx? You still here? You're on mute if you're. Oh, maybe she had to walk away or something. Okay, so
she said she's scared. She said she's chewing on something right now, so she can't turn on her mic.
Oh, okay. I will. Do you still want me to talk about your chart? Or are you in the middle of your dinner or something? Let me know what she says. Maybe I'll do the next person and I'll come back to you, Natalie. So
yeah, she said do her last.
Okay. So Samantha. Are you here, man, Samantha?
Yes, hi.
Hi, Samantha. How are you?
I'm doing very well, thank you.
Oh,
How are you?
good. I am good. Okay. Okay. Let's see. And let me just check something quick. Okay. So to watch, make sure this I'm doing this right, your stuff.
Okay.
Cadillac, Michigan. I like it. Oh, why don't what's Michigan? M-I?
Yeah.
Oh, I had a brain dump for a second. I couldn't remember. Okay. Okay. Double check the birth time. Oh, look at all these blue lines, Samantha. Wow. Ah, your sun is in Libra. Your moon is in Taurus. So Venus signs ruled by Venus, but you're a Scorpio rising. How interesting. So you are here to transform. It's so important for you to have a relationship with the being the Phoenix. And does that connect with you? Or do you find that you get stuck in that South Node in Taurus and wanting things to not change? And
I would definitely say that I seek transformation constantly.
oh, good. Yeah. And this speaks. Oh, go ahead. I'm sorry.
I'm always trying to grow. And especially recently, I feel like I finally am in a good place and I have the resources to do a lot of inner work at this point. So
wonderful. Yeah. So what's really interesting about your chart? So your rising sign, which speaks to how you present in the world, what your soul is rising to, is in the same sign as your North Node. So there's probably some more comfort with your North Node. Yeah. Yeah. And there's so many planets in the 12th house. It's like the veil is thin. Yeah.
Can you elaborate?
Are you really? Do you see dead people or?
No.
Are you very, very intuition? Do you have very deep intuition?
Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah. There might even be some psychic ability that you find that you have. How old are you? Have you had your Saturn return yet?
I'm 26. I'm not sure.
No, you haven't. So that will happen at about 29. Where is your Saturn? Oh, in Pisces. Yeah, this is a couple years away for you. That'll be interesting. Yeah, and it's like, it's a passage of passing into, not that you're a child, but of the passage to adulthood, like where you take on more responsibility, you move towards your destiny, you start a new 30-year cycle of your life is the Saturn return. So anyway, your South Node being in the 6th house, I definitely want to talk about that, because can you get anxious or overly critical of yourself and perfectionistic and all of that kind of stuff?
Yeah.
Okay, so that means you should move towards, so you're really comfortable with the Scorpio, but move towards the Pisces of releasing, surrender, trusting your intuition. Meditating would be really helpful for you and things like that.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. And let's see. And oh, your moon is near your South Node. So really, 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 really important for you to keep your emotional body healthy and connect into your emotions. When planets are next to the South Node, we have to take extra care in feeding of them.
Okay.
Yeah.
I can definitely see that. I need a lot of balance in order
Mm-hmm.
to go out and exist in the world.
Mm-hmm.
So,
Yeah, you really got to take care of that. Yeah.
Yeah.
And but you have your moon is in a nice relationship with Saturn, the planet of structure. This little blue line is a sextile. So that to me says that that gives you an opportunity to use this beautiful Taurus moon. That's the moon is exalted in Taurus, so that it has extra support for you to lean into your Saturn. So discipline and structure and having boundaries will really help you take care of your moon. And and you have a mystical rectangle as well. So you have some kind of calling. I don't know if it's been activated yet, but it has to do with something about healing and maybe even helping people in some kind of isolation or what kind of work do you do?
At the moment, I'm taking a sabbatical because I have no idea what I want to do or should be doing. So I'm exploring that.
Well, really, I would like you to start journaling because I think it's November 26th or something, there's going to be a lunar eclipse where on your ascendant, it's going to be at 26 Taurus. So it's going to be at opposite you. So it'll be really interesting to see are you married or anything?
I'm in a very committed relationship. Yeah.
Oh, okay. There may be some new start with your relationship, or it goes to another level or something like that, or you get in partnership with someone at work, or it could be about a really close friend or something like that. But there's going to be the sun, and the sun is going to be shining on you, and the moon is going to be over here. It'll be a full moon eclipse on the other. So it'll be interesting to see, like, if a new story starts or something, you release something from that story, or it'd be really good time to release some pieces of that anxiety or overcriticalness. So really good time to journal now about that and see, who comes into your life between now and then. It'll be really interesting because, like I talked about, the parade of planets is going to be going over people. You're going to have this parade of planets come over your south node in Taurus over the next month. Venus, the sun, and Mercury. So it gives you an opportunity when things come up to release some karmic story and do things differently. So really pay attention to who you meet over the next month, or issues that come up where you have this chance to move into trusting and surrender versus worrying about it and getting overly critical of yourself or anything like that.
Great.
All right.
Thank you so much.
You are very welcome. Yeah. So is Natalie ready, or we can do her another day if she's still eating? And I'll do one more person. Okay. Let me do Anahi. Are you still here? Or Cassandra?
Yes, I'm here.
Who said yes, I'm here? Anahi. Okay, yeah. Anahi, you are the last person for today. If I missed anyone, I will do you. It looks like I'll do Christy Sue and Mel Christie and Nance. You will be up first next time. Or maybe I'll do Nance tonight because she helped Laura so much. So let me do Anahi, Nance, and then we'll call it a night. If Nance is still here, it might be, let's see. Yeah, I'm starting to lose it. I'm like, what month is what month is 3?
So I'm here with my cousin, and that's her.
Okay.
She ran and typed that in. She just walked away. She's going to be really happy when she gets back.
Okay.
I just texted her.
5.
And her name is actually Xochitl. So it's Xochitl.
Xochitl. Okay. Los Angeles. Let's see. Okay, I've got her in here. Is she back, or I'll do Nance?
Yeah, she's coming. She's right here.
Okay. Okay.
She got-
Okay. Oh, wow. This is, I mean, the thing that jumps out about me. So
Hello.
you, hi, how are you?
Good,
So
how are you?
good. So you say Sochil is how you say your name?
Yeah, Sochi. Sorry, I was getting some water for my tea.
No worry.
Thank you for waiting.
I've gotten very wordy. Sorry. So you were born at a new moon in Aries.
Yes.
Yeah. So you just had a birthday. Happy birthday.
Thank
You are
you so much.
a triple Aries. You have an Aries stellium with 5 planets in Aries. I am scared of you. Are you in touch with your fire?
I am, but
Yeah.
I know that I'm born on the cusp, so I think the Pisces has really helped me out my whole life. So
Okay.
little
Yeah.
fire and water.
Okay, so you have a healthy balance of that. Fire and water is amazing. You could be really instinctual and creative. What do you do? What kind of work?
I'm an actor and a dancer. So
Oh,
I started with
perfect.
dance.
Absolutely perfect. I love it. Oh, and with Mars and Taurus, that Venus. Very, very good. Yes. The other thing that jumps out at me, I just have to say, you have a what's called Yod, which is the finger of God, which is overly dramatic to say that you may feel like your life takes fated turns at times. You
Okay.
feel like you have some kind of fatedness, or maybe powerful people come into your life and pull you into some kind of directions.
Yes, definitely.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, it's Pluto goes to your ascendant. So that speaks to being you, your ascendant, your moon, your sun. Wow. And then Chiron, the wounded healer. Very interesting. Yeah. Really good for you as well to keep a note of who's coming into your life this next month, because your North Node is in Taurus. So you're
Okay.
going to have the parade of planets go over your North Node. And yeah, so there could be some nice opportunities for you. So your South Node is in Scorpio. So do you find like there's too much chaos in your life, or constantly?
Yes, I didn't realize that it was actually in Scorpio. I think I thought it was in a different sign when we first started this class. So that, yes, that's definitely, that makes
Mhm.
sense actually.
Yeah, check your birth time.
Okay.
Did
Yeah,
I
it's
type
6,
everything right?
yeah, 6:05 a.m. Uh-huh.
Okay.
All
Yeah.
correct.
Yeah. So it's in the 8th house too. So this is like the basement, the house of the basement. So it's like the shadow. So with the South Node there,
Mhm.
like can be this need to constantly bring up, like merge with people so deeply. It's past the point of like being a little obsessive or jealous or possessive, and like wanting to create this constant chaos or drama to feel and to be alive. And with all this fire, I can see how that could happen, but really you're called to release some of that and just more enjoy the simple pleasures of life and get into the 5 senses and be more harmonious and bring some grounding to yourself, some earth, more stability and how you act and be with others, as well as this can be about, developing a financial plan and managing your money well and saving and all that kind of stuff. So your North Node is in the second house of Taurus. So you only have to read one North Node. Yeah. And so let's see if there are any lines coming to it. No, not really. It's in conjunct Uranus. Interesting. Yeah. So, this green line, it's like something needs adjustment, and Uranus can be about inspiration, but it can also be about a sense of sudden events, or like, do you find yourself sometimes when things get uncomfortable, or you just you're like, I'm done, and you're just gone?
Yeah, actually. Yes.
So with the nodes, when you have something talking to them, it can add layers to that story. And Sagittarius wants to, it's a horse. It's like, okay, I'm done. I'm going to gallop away. I want my freedom. I want to be carefree. I want to get out of this. Taurus wants stability. So that can be something that comes to you. So really watch what happens with yourself, especially internally, over the next month when all these planets go over your North Node, and see what opportunities come to you to build stability and have more harmonious connections with people.
Very interesting.
Yeah. Well, I hope that helps.
No, that does. Thank you so much.
Oh, you're very welcome.
Yeah, I didn't know that it was the South was in Scorpio. So that's makes a lot of sense.
Yeah.
Thank you so much. I feel so honored. Thank you.
Oh, you're welcome. It's my pleasure.
Readings, and it's just great hearing you talk about just any events and anything astrology. So.
Thank you so much. My pleasure. Yeah. Okay. Well, we'll do Nance. Nance, if you're still here, we're going to do you.
Yes, I'm here.
Okay. Yeah. Let me do you. Okay.
It's March 21, the same.
Oh, really? Oh, how
Isn't that
funny.
wild? And 6 o'clock, like her.
How interesting.
I
This
know.
is going to be cool. Let me find you on the list, or you can just tell me what year.
51.
Okay. Yeah. And the time?
It's 6 o'clock, so it's five minutes less than her. Yeah, 6 a.m.
And is that exact?
Yeah.
Okay. And that's the right time? It's
the right time. And the place is Rahway, Rahway, New Jersey.
Oh, I'm from New Jersey.
You are?
Morristown.
Oh.
Yeah. And Vicky lives there now.
Oh.
Yeah. Yeah. So here you are, Nance. Oh, wow. You have a Grand Cross. Wow. That's a rarity to see. Yes. Very activating. What kind of work do you do?
I'm an artist.
Yeah.
But I've done many things. Chef.
Mm-hmm.
Mother.
Okay. So Sun in Aries, Moon in Virgo, and a Pisces rising. So Pisces rising with Jupiter right there really speaks to being an artist. And yeah, the Moon in Virgo, having that attention to detail and ability to connect into the details to work with that. And the Grand Cross, it's like a lot of pressure. So from Saturn, the structure and discipline and all that, to Chiron, the wounded healer, as well as your midheaven, to Jupiter, how you expand and then to Uranus, the planet of sudden insights, great awakening, and stuff like that. Yeah, people, it's very activating when you have that. And you also have a grand trine in Earth when you bring in your Chiron. Yeah. Have you been able to manifest a lot of the things you wanted in your life with the grand trine in Earth?
Yes, but I always feel unsuccessful.
Maybe that Venus and Taurus can be about the self-esteem as well as money, or judging yourself by maybe standards outside of
things
that are and the Moon and Virgo always has something to say critical about no matter what you do. So that's something to work on. And your North Node in Pisces, well, you're an artist.
Yes.
So do you meditate, or do you find that you can let go of some of that worry over your life? Have you
I'm a bigger worrier than I've ever been, I think, as I got older, but I'm a huge like before, when you said to someone, do you see dead people? I'm all over all of that. Like, I've been astral since I was a little kid. Like, people are like, what are you talking about? What is wrong with you? So it's it's complicated to work towards my Pisces because it doesn't work with the world, you know. I'm working with the other world, the unseen, and I'm so comfortable there, and it's so real to me. So people think, you know, I'm problematic because they're like, what's wrong with her, you know? But I love it. It's so my natural place.
Yeah. And so you have a yod to your North Node. So it's like your destiny is to, and like fated, like you have no choice but to be the way you are. It's Neptune in conjunct the North Node and the North Node and Pluto, and they sextile each other. Like that's what you're supposed to do. And you have Jupiter right here as well. So that expands everything, makes it bigger. And yeah, so the Jupiter and Saturn are in Aquarius, about the individual, about the exile, about the, you know, not giving a crap what somebody has to say about what you're doing, or, you know, not needing to be accepted by the crowd.
Yeah.
Yeah. So good time for you. But yeah, trying to, if you can, having your moon as well, nurturing your moon is really important, with the moon in the same sign as the South Node. I was saying that, I think it was Samantha. It's really important to take care of your moon, because when planets are in the same side as the South Node, it makes them even more important to nurture. And
nurture myself.
Yes. Yeah. Nurture yourself, your emotions, and things like that. Yeah. So yeah, you have this grand trine, and it's a kite as well. Someone else had Mary Saul had a kite, I think, where it's grounded in Uranus. So as well, being the rebel, the exile, being unique, I think at your root with Uranus, that as well speaks to you being connected into the other worlds and stuff like that.
Since I was 5. I mean, you know,
5 years old. So see how the planet is 5 degrees. So you met Uranus when you were 5 years old. Yeah. How interesting. Astrology is so literal.
It is. Thank you. You're just amazing.
Thank you.
Thank you. Thank you.
My pleasure. Well, thank you everyone for coming, and the people who were able to hang in there. I know I kept going for so long. And anyone who's signed up, if you didn't sign up yet, please. Oh, there's a new student, Samantha. Yay. I'm so excited. Oh my God, I'm so excited. Yes. So wonderful. So thank you for coming. Come back on Sunday if you want to talk about the eclipses. That's going to be fantastic. Yes. So, and I will get the people that I didn't get to. If you come on Sunday, I will write a note down for myself and do it. Yay, yay, yay. Okay. Have a beautiful evening, everyone. And thank you so, so much.